Absolutely amazing time. So Nick, just super grateful for you being on here today, and for everyone tuning in. If you don't mind taking a moment to retweet the stream, so we can educate more folks about Onchain globally, Onchain in Singapore, and what the base team has cooking there. Go ahead and hit the retweet button, and yeah, super excited to dive in today, Nicholas.
Hey, Rachel, GM, BM to everyone in the stream. So Nick here, Singapore country lead. Actually, I think I've been with Base for just about past 1 month. So it's been a whirlwind journey so far, but really, really enjoying myself. And yeah, really, really get to be able to connect to all the builders here in Singapore and in Asia.
Awesome. And I remember, just being at Coinbase headquarters with you. You were just starting out, your excitement was through the roof. And, we had some really great conversations. And I've just always felt like, I mean, even the base team, I've heard I forget someone else on the base team said, what you're doing is really inspiring even to the team. Like, you've really stepped up. You've been extremely active on socials, making content, just really championing the message of base in Singapore. So I do want to take a moment to dive in here. Welcome everybody in the community who's tuning in. And the theme for today is really going to be global base expansion, bringing the world on chain. But I really want to put a spotlight on Singapore. So, Nick, can we just zoom in really quick and just talk about you individually, and then your efforts in Singapore? So, like, what brought you onto the base team? What does that journey look like? And what is your background?
Yeah, sure. Happy to dive into that. So, I've actually been a builder on base for about a year before I joined. So I was building a gamified options protocol called Pop. And the reason why I chose base was actually quite different from many builders. When I looked at Base, I saw that Base was obviously backed by Coinbase, incubated by Coinbase, and so therein lies its hidden strength, where Coinbase is a company that plans something, that plans strategies way in advance. And actually, there was this 2016 Coinbase secret master plan that I like to bring up again and again.
Nice.
That shows Base was some semblance of Base was in the planning for many years, where they laid out like four stages in bringing people on chain, right? First you had to build the infrastructure, you had to build the exchange, and and then the on-chain rails where you bring everyone on chain. And so uh, one of the key factors of choosing Base was Base it was going to be a really really long-term play, because it's backed by good strategy, it's backed by a well-capitalized entity, and it's almost one and the same, right? To a certain extent. And then I looked at all the other chains out there, and I realized, okay, we are still really, really early, right? And in crypto, when you're really early, that gives you a bit of a first mover advantage, because it's quieter, it's less competition, and you really get to meet like the people who are in it to build, right? And
Yep.
so we got connected to the base core team, and from then on, I got more and more active. And actually, there's a story on how I became like a louder voice on X. Back in the day when Base just started, there were like, and I was running like my project, right? And we were looking to grow, and I was looking for KOLs and influencers to kind of uh, grow my audience, right? So I looked across like the Twitter space, and there were just a couple of influencers that were base specific, right? At that time, most influencers were still on Ethereum, on other chains like Arbitrum, Solana. And so I thought, hey, if there was not many influencers, then I have to be, as one of the earlier builders on base, I have to be like that voice to kind
Yep.
of grow the ecosystem. Because as the ecosystem grows, then projects on the ecosystem will kind of grow with it as well. And so inadvertently and unintentionally, I became kind of like a louder voice on social media. And yeah, then things progressed. Hosted a couple of community events, and then when the role finally came up, I applied and I got in. So I'm very thankful for that.
We're all very thankful for it. I mean, your energy in the community has just been undeniable. Like, just showing up with joy, with passion. Like, it's very evident that you're doing what you love and working on a team that you really believe in, and you're just doing incredible work. And I do want to dive into that now. So, okay, we got your journey. We understand, the beginning days for you on base and what that looked like, but I am curious, like, if we can go even further, like how you first even got into crypto and why this is something you're passionate about.
Yeah, it. So I came from the TradFi space. I started my career at JP Morgan and then moved to Citi. And coming from TradFi, I used to view the crypto space with a very tinted, judgmental lens, because this was back in like 2019. We saw there's a big run up to like 60K, and then it crashed way down. So I was pretty skeptical, right? And it was only until one of my good friends introduced me to this GameFi project on a very obscure chain. It was DeFi Kingdoms, and it was on Harmony.
Okay, I know DeFi Kingdoms. I That was the first like game on chain game I got into, which is it's
Right.
a whole nother story. But basically, I went to ETH Denver, got COVID, got the POAP, and that everybody got there, and spent 2 weeks quarantined in a hotel room playing DeFi Kingdoms. So that is my experience. I got very good, got my characters, got my quests going. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think like I mean, awesome that we share that kind of like common history in our on-chain experience, right? But I thought DeFi Kingdoms was pretty interesting because back then that was also the wave where it felt like mass retail onboarding was coming, right? Because you had all these big exchanges sponsoring events, sponsoring like sports teams, buying naming rights for stadiums, and all these celebrities were, buying NFTs. And gaming was one of those aha moments where I think everyone thought that, hey, everyone plays games, and maybe this could be the vehicle where everyone got onboarded. And so the GameFi wave like took over, and I actually left my banking job to join a blockchain gaming company based in Singapore called Atlas. So
That's
back in the
awesome.
day, they raised well, and they raised from Sequoia, Dragonfly, and so I learned really a lot from the founders over there. And that's how I got started.
Wow. So from banking to on-chain gaming, now to base, like, that just sounds like an epic, epic career trajectory that you're on. And yeah, just super honored that you're here and sharing your journey here today. So I'm curious. So you're natively from Singapore? Have you lived in Singapore your whole life?
Yeah, born and raised here. Studied here as well. Worked here, so I'm like true blue Singaporean. I speak
Wow.
perfect English.
Wow. So I'm curious, like, I guess what makes Singapore, a strategic plan for base? Because I know they've chosen to hone in on this area. What makes Singapore ripe for opportunity in the on-chain space?
Yeah, I think there are a multitude of factors that contribute to the reason why not only base but just companies in general choose Singapore as the preferred like destination to set up base, right? No pun intended. But firstly, I think it's a very safe place to grow your business. Uh, you know, Government policies and regulations are very, very stable. They don't fluctuate wildly from time to time. So if you see the government make progressive regulation, you know that it's going to be better than being in an unregulated market where overnight you can get shut down. And so I think that's definitely one factor. In terms of resources, I think proximity to various resources really plays a part as well. So in Singapore, it's like the ultimate intersection of like proximity to capital, proximity to talent, builders, just connections in general. You can just hop onto a cab and meet anyone really in like half an hour within Singapore. So that's how small it is, and because of how small it is, like everything's really really interconnected. Yeah, and so in addition to access to capital, you also have access to big brands that you could
Nice.
potentially compete with, right? um, yeah, although I must say, in terms of entrepreneurship and the startup scene, we are way behind places like Silicon Valley, but I
I
do
was
hope
gonna
that
ask, like, would you compare Singapore to like the Silicon Valley of, Southeast Asia?
um, I do hope we get there eventually,
Because it
but
kind of
I
sounds like
think,
it's a business hub, but like, would you say it's as tech heavy or it's just more business and entrepreneurial centric?
yeah, um, I would say there's a good amount of tech talent in Singapore, right? And there are many big tech companies that set up headquarters here. And so, just by virtue of knowledge transfer, we do get a lot of good talent here. But one thing that perhaps, if there was any critique about Singapore, I have about the talent here is that everyone's like kind of very risk averse, because Singapore's way too structured, right? So if you
Mm,
follow the right path, you go to a good school, you get a good internship, you get a good job, you get promoted, life is good, right? So no one's gonna like leave their cushy, well-paying job to try something that is risky, right? Although that move may potentially have like huge outsized
mm.
returns, everyone's just cushy. So therein lies like um, the dilemma of having good resources,
Yep.
having a structured like education path, but you don't get many entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I remember you saying like, we were driving around in the Palo Alto Mountain View area, and you were saying like, did you know in Singapore like it costs like $80,000 just to drive a car? And I was like, wait, what? You're like, yeah, you have to get like a license to drive a car. That's $80,000. I was like, get out. That's crazy. Like, so it does sound like there's a bit of like extremely structured kind of bureaucracy to navigate. But overall, I've heard like a lot of incredible things. Like anyone I know that's been to Singapore has loved it. It sounds like a very beautiful city, a very safe city. So like in your experience, like I guess what are some of the nuances of building there? Like you mentioned culturally, like people are more risk averse, but what has your specific experience been like building in crypto in Singapore?
Yeah, I think Singapore's definitely a crypto hub where we get a lot of builders that come here to scale, mainly because it's safe, and there's proximity to a lot of VCs, a lot of brands. If you're, I think what I've seen so far is Singapore has, like, the profile of builders in Singapore is less the builders that are going from zero to one, because if you were a builder in Singapore and you had a pretty good idea and you had good credentials, you could probably cobble together like some angel checks and raise enough money to build your MVP, get your first couple of users. And so because of that, the profile of builders here are more those that are looking to scale, and because Singapore is a wealth management hub, so we kind of get a lot more DeFi centric projects building here. So we do have like AI projects, we do have some RWA ones, some gaming ones, but most of them I see are like infra based or DeFi based.
Okay, got it. That's really good information, Nav. I am curious too, like, cause I spent some time in Japan last year. Helped throw a conference, did a lot of work there. I've actually been to Japan like 3 times in the past year. I'm curious, like, in okay, just zooming out and looking at all of Asia culturally, regulation, builder specific nuances. What are like some of those nuances of growing and perpetuating the ethos of bringing the world on chain in Asian regions?
Mm. I think the thing about Asia is the we are very culturally diverse, and so the way and that is also why I think Base is really adopting the right strategy by putting country leads on the ground, because we are so
Totally.
diverse in terms of like you've been to Japan, their culture's like totally
You need
different
to be
from
there. And
how we do it
I've
here.
seen parallels with like people. If people don't understand something, I feel like they're like, yeah, I'm not going to jump in and risk my life. I have a good thing going. I have a job. Why am I going to get into something that could potentially be risky for me? I do feel like that was more of an attitude. Like this, choosing the safer path was something that I felt like was more culturally there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do agree, and I, I don't know for certain, but I can only guess, right? Like maybe the art scene is not that the liberal art scene is not that great in Asia, right? And so um, Asian parents play a big role just culturally, like
Mm.
get a good job, get married, have kids, right?
Don't go
And
to art
settle
school.
down. Yeah, and get be a doctor, be a lawyer, right? Be a scientist. And that kind of affects the way people think here.
Okay, got it. Well, I have to say, like spending some time in Tokyo, the art scene there was really like it. I think creativity is just bursting at the seams in a lot of areas in Tokyo, Harajuku. Like I just yeah, I really enjoyed my time there and noticed a lot of creativity in the culture. Um, but yeah, I feel like for expanding the crypto space in APAC regions, I think it's a very good time for that. I don't know. I'm feeling like we're seeing more and more conferences pop up in more APAC regions, like more people
Mm,
starting to say, okay, like this is not going anywhere. How can we tap in? Japan, for instance, right? Like it will only benefit to bring that innovation. It will only benefit the economy and the people of Japan, right? To bring this innovation out there and new opportunities for people to work
mm.
and earn in the digital space. So, the on chain space. So, yeah, moving on to my next question here. I'm curious. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but you've spent some time in America. I'm curious, like how things out there kind of differ from out here, as far as like the psychology or philosophies around blockchain and the on-chain space. Like, how do people's beliefs differ?
Hmm. Um, well, that's a tough question because I only spent like 2 weeks
Okay, all right. So then
in
maybe
Asia.
that's
But I
and
can
you
just
spent it at
share.
Coinbase headquarters, so like
Yes,
the
yes.
most crypto focused place.
But I can share because I do have like conversations with friends on the entrepreneur scene between these two countries, right? Because I have friends in the US, and what at least what I noticed from my time at the base summit was that people there are more open to exchanging ideas, right? So there was one day I was just taking a walk in the park with another country lead. We're just discussing some ideas, and I noticed like just in the park there were people like discussing some business, and they were just sitting down and just having a more laid back time, and they were just exchanging ideas casually. And then when I and so this is like a true story. When I came back, I actually dialed up one of my good friends for my trader friends for a chat, and I was like, "Hey, why do you think like Singapore doesn't produce as many like uh, nearly as many unicorns as like the US? Because
Unique what?
like unicorns, like
Mm.
billion-dollar startups. Because my theory was if you were in a highly dense city, right, you would be more likely to, the chances that you meet someone and exchange ideas would technically be higher. It's right. It's like particles in
Yeah.
a smaller ecosystem have higher energy, right? And so they
Hmm.
bump into each other more often. Whereas in the US, the land is big, and people maybe don't bump into each other more often, right? But the paradox here is in Singapore, because it's kind of like more of a pressure cooker. So people don't talk to each other that often, despite being close to each other. you know, um, and especially if you're in a corporate job, you just work, 9 to 5, 9 to 9, whatever it is. And so my theory is like the exchange of ideas, like is the thing that plays a key role. And the second one is risk appetite, right? Like, and that's why when I came into base, I was quite motivated by the opportunity that the role could grant me, in the sense of being able to help startups, being able to help builders, even being able to help university students in hackathons. Can we maybe give them some internship opportunities, get them to see what it's like trying to build something of your own, and kind of instill that like fighting spirit from them, in them, right? When they're
I
still like,
love that. Well,
yeah.
you seem to be doing it, man. Your boots on the ground, and we're gonna dive into like the roadmap, like what what you have planned, what the base team has planned, and what you can share about what your efforts are like in Singapore. But I do want to challenge everyone who's tuning in right now. Let me see how many people we got here today. I think we're getting close to like we have 138 people here today. So if you're watching, if you're tuning in, drop your country flag. I'm curious to see like where everyone is watching from. If we have any folks from Singapore, you're in the West. If you're in the U.S., drop your flag and let's say hello and represent where you're tuning in from. So to move on here, I'm curious like what kinds of projects. I know you mentioned RWAs, but what are you seeing emerge out of Singapore and like the broader region like that you've seen?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of takes lead from the US, right? I mean, regulations in the US kind of trickle down everywhere, and so given the recent, like the Genius Act, I think the whole's gonna look at stable coins right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think even in Singapore and in Asia, we are all looking at like use cases for localized stable coins. And it's not just like base that's looking at that. So I've spoken to folks at like AWS, even like all these service providers. They are like looking at projects that are doing stable coins right now. So it's kind of, it affects everyone, like down the line, like in the whole like tech chain. And so I think like localized use of stable coins is something that if you wanna quote unquote bring the world on chain, right? That means you want stable coins to be almost embedded into your daily life. And so if that were the case, you have to be able to pay in local stable coins, because if my local hawker is not going to take USD fiat as payment, why would they be willing to take USDC, right? And
Right.
so they would have to take like XSGD, which is our local stable coin. And similar for a local vendor in Indonesia, they would have to take IDRX,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. So I think stablecoins is definitely one of the big things that's up and coming here.
Yeah, I just saw
Um,
some big news from Ripple CEO yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, and was talking similarly about how stable coins are going to be a big entry point for cryptos to kind of come more into mainstream finance because they're just more like stable, trustworthy, like non-volatile assets pegged by the dollar. So, um, yeah, I
mhm.
love that you touched on that. And for each country, it's going to be different. I actually saw a video. Gosh, I saw a video yesterday of somebody in Cannes actually like going around to different stores and getting their local currency. So definitely a very big opportunity for various countries around the world.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, like, are there any projects that has, been building in base in Asia, APAC regions, or Singapore that you've particularly taken a liking to or noticed having success in your region?
Yeah, I must say that, although I come from Singapore, I have a lot of respect for Malaysian builders. There were so many good projects that came out of Malaysia, like Virtuals,
Wow, that's
Etherscan,
awesome.
CoinGecko. Some of these like really, really early projects, and there are actually a lot more. And so I think it's something about Malaysian builders that are different, right?
Mm.
And but a lot of them they actually set up shop in Singapore after they got like traction and they're looking to scale even further. And so I think as a region, and maybe this ties in nicely with like the strategy that kind of we are kind of playing around with, because in APAC, different regions have different strengths,
Okay.
and almost no country builds like in autarky, right? Or they don't build alone, and they have to kind of like trade with each other. So for example, India has many builders, and so their strategy is like they have fellowships where they get the best builders and they guide them on what to build. Philippines, they have a lot of users, but maybe not as many builders and not as much capital, right? And Singapore has the capital, and so by leveraging on the strengths of each country, we can as a region uh, help each other with what we are best at. So, for example, a builder could build in India, get users from the Philippines and maybe scale in Singapore with capital. And so that's kind of what's going on in my mind, but obviously it's not been operationalized yet. Yeah.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for diving in. And I really am curious. Like, okay, right before this call, we were talking about like different things that Base is looking into activating in Singapore, and we have a massive conference coming up. I'm gonna share my screen here, um, real quick if I can. Here we go. Yeah, so we have Token Singapore coming up this year, you guys, in October. So, I actually had the pleasure of attending my first Token 2049 in Dubai. And I have to say, the production, the way they put this on, it was just so incredible. Just a very, I feel like, high caliber event. So I'm curious, what, if anything you can discuss around Token Singapore that you guys might be doing.
Yeah, so I think we'll have so similar to the setup last year, we'll have like Coinbase House, which is mainly for institutions, and then we have for Base like Base Cafe, and Base Cafe is gonna be located within the main conference area. So you will have to need to have like a conference like a main conference ticket to access Base Cafe. But this year we are also looking to work with community hosts to host like side events. That's one angle. We're also looking for partners to co-host like slightly bigger events, but staying true to the base DNA. We want to focus on builders and we want to help builders find audiences. And so we're thinking maybe the format would be giving better platforms for builders to showcase their products to users, or maybe to VCs, right? So we 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 although it's like kind of like when I look at events, it's tempting to go like, okay, let's do something at the club,
Yeah,
or
right.
in there are many nice clubs in Singapore, right? But I think builders come first, and when we do things, it's always about thinking about the long term. What if we, what we do today should contribute, in the next year or in the next 2 years, right? And not do something today and just like, party today and forget tomorrow.
I totally agree. I feel like I've been to so many events at this point in my career in crypto. I really enjoy and appreciate the events where there is some level of impact in people's lives. Like those events like Onchain Summit, the ones that like just change your lives. You connect with other builders, you learn, you get educated, and you build relationships. Those are the events that I love personally. Like I'm not like trying to go and like party, forget everything, and like, okay, what's next? Like, for me, I think On Chain Summit has been like an event like that in my life. Just a place to connect to the base community. So I am like, I'm super bullish on everything you guys are doing. And, I've never been to Singapore before. So happy to support however I can and just amplifying whatever you guys are doing during Token and beyond in Singapore. So that actually brings me to my next question. I'm curious, like, what else on the roadmap for Singapore are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you should definitely come. You should definitely come
I
to
know. I'm
Token.
like, I'm feeling like I have to, with Dubai, I was like, okay, I've never been to Dubai, never been to a token event. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go, I'll figure it out. And it was one of the greatest experiences ever. And I have faith that like the Singapore experience will be the same. And, also going and now I know you out there too. And my base, base team, like friends will be there. So it's kind of interesting in the space how you're never alone. You can kind of hop on a
Mhm.
plane and go internationally to this country you've never been to, and it's like, oh, here's my family, like whatever, like what I mean.
Yeah,
So
totally,
I feel
totally.
really good about going, like especially because you're there and you're working so hard to build base in Singapore, and I'd be honored to support at any capacity.
Thank you so much, and yeah, I hope to
Yes.
see you there. With regards to like what we're gonna be doing in Singapore, I think, um, so this was related to something I said earlier, where in Singapore you don't really get those 0 to 1 startups. You get the 1 to 100 kind of startups looking to grow, looking to scale. And so in Singapore, we are looking to fill the role of helping companies scale. And so with kind of like base batches and with Incubase, what we got was a lot of uh, startups that were building from scratch. And now in Singapore, we are thinking, can we play the role of taking these startups even further, and giving them resources, giving them amplification. That's why there's Base Voices that launched recently, and we are
Yeah,
event.
I've been watching that. Yeah, you're the one that told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like Base Voices is really a tool to reward both creators as well as amplify builders in the space, so that we can achieve like a win-win-win for builders, for creators as well, as well as for Base. And under Base Voices being the main one of the main amplification initiatives, we intend to plug different amplification partners. So GM Tribe is one. We're looking at Tunnel. We're looking at Creator Base, and there are a couple of other like Scribble DAO ones that we're looking at as well. And so this is yet another initiative we have to help builders find users. And so all of this will we are hoping to wrap it up into a incubation, not incubation, but acceleration or launchpad program, where we can just launch startups like from 1 to 100.
Amazing. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been paying attention here. We got the GM tribe. If we can go through and just show people, maybe we can give an overview really quick because I've been following along and trying to do the challenges here, the campaigns. So what's can you tell us about the current campaign that's happening here?
Yeah, so on 16 July this year, there's a very exciting event that's happening. It's called a new day one. There's gonna be a bunch of unveils, and so we are using this pilot program to kind of count down to a new day one. And so every day, base mom, or we call her,
Oh,
statuette,
I'm
she's
so
gonna post
excited
like,
to see her. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was just
yeah,
talking
she's
to her
been
last
doing
night.
so much good work, like just
I
onboarding.
love her. If she's watching this, she's amazing. We love you. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, so shout out to base mom. But she's really like been so dedicated at uh, ensuring like a successful launch of TBA, and so base voices is kind of there to give that extra lift to this campaign. And so because this is just a pilot, it's going to run for like 4 weeks. Eventually, once it gets bigger, we're gonna use it to amplify projects as well. And so if I think that the idea or the hope is, if this flywheel takes off, and if base voices proves itself as a good and useful amplification tool, then brands will see value in funding some of these rewards to find users. And so it's part of the growth like flywheel that we're trying to kickstart.
100%. And for those of you watching that want to get involved, that want to become a part of Base Voices, you can apply here at app.gmtribe.xyz /base. And I just dropped the link in our live stream chat. So if you're watching, you can actually see that link in our chat and click and apply today. Um, and then I also, we touched on a new day one briefly. I want to share about this because there's so much buzz about this event. And yeah, just I'm extremely excited. I'm local to Los Angeles, so I will be there next week for the main event and for the after party. So yeah, if you don't mind just giving an overview of like what you can talk about for what a new day one is and why the team is so excited about it.
Right. So so the thing is, things are moving like so fast that I don't know like uh what I can say or not, because I'm also taking information. But I think what I can say is, so Coinbase wallet is going to be revamped into what we call TBA. And so the name for TBA is not yet unveiled, so that's going to be like kept under wraps. But I can talk about the maybe the thought process behind why we're doing the revamp of Coinbase wallet, right? What Base eventually hopes to do is to have 1 million builders, 1 billion users, and 1 trillion in assets on chain. And so to achieve this, there's going to be this flywheel where we want to activate builders to create more apps, and we want to bring these apps to more users. And because we have more users, we attract the builders to come.
Mm.
And so TBA is one of the key tools where that tries to spin this flywheel faster. So in TBA, we have a text feed. So just to recap, TBA is like a revamped version of Coinbase Wallet. So in TBA, we have a text feed, so text social media feed. We also will have a short form video reels kind of format. We'll also have a swap. We also have an app store. We also have like chats with agents embedded in it. So it's an agentic chat, but you can also chat with other community members. And it's also a wallet, right? And so Base realizes that hey, Web3 or on-chain is really an attention economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Attention is king. So if you capture someone's attention, you capture kind of that monetization cycle as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so what TBA essentially is, it is a effort to bring users to the right apps, and help builders bring the apps to all these like uh, users in the most efficient way possible. So Base also acquired like Spindle recently, and so Spindle's like an on-chain like ad system where it analyzes on-chain data, and by virtue of that, it can bring the most relevant users to builders apps, right? And so this is going to play like a big role in this new day one unveil, and so look forward to it. And I might have to be asking you like how the new day one was, because I'm going to be watching from like 15 hours away.
I listen, I got you. You said short form video content, and then my brain just started like, thinking all the possibilities of content I can create while there. And I can share a little bit of alpha about an interview I'm going to be doing there. I'm going to be interviewing David so very excited about that. Going to be interviewing, on the ecosystem side of base, hearing from David at a new day one. So I'm very excited about that. And another thing I want to do while there is just create as much content as possible and really try to bring all this content on chain. Like recently I shared a short video about supporting creators and put it on Zora, and just trying to like bring these creations on chain as much as possible, while also informing and educating and showing the community what's happening on the ground. And very excited. Like honestly, I'm just like through the roof. And this weekend I'm actually going to San Francisco. I'm going to be filming my first short documentary film. This will be with Zitza Labs. We're getting ready for Onchain Summit, and then I'm going straight from that, coming back home and going to a day one. So it's going to be packed. Weekend and next week, we're just the space never sleeps. There's always something happening to tap into, and very very exciting. So yeah, Nick, we'll make sure we get content going out for you so you can like be there with us. Maybe we'll make a video just for you specifically while we're there.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to look forward to all the media releases and all the announcements and all the videos that's gonna come out of that amazing event. And congrats on your filming, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot. Getting ready for Film 3 Festival. I guess I can share that really really quick here. Shout out to the Film 3 family that has really helped this all come together. I just want to go ahead and share my screen. I think there's a big opportunity, and I'm sorry, I could like start nerding out and get into the philosophy of this, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for film to come on chain. And this
Mm.
was something I started thinking about a couple months ago when I first heard the term Film 3 and got connected with, some folks that are putting on the Film 3 Festival. And this is going to be at Onchain Summit, by the way. So I started reflecting on this, right? Because I have a media company. I do on-chain media. So I'm like, what would it look like to make like a documentary or like a short, like thought-provoking documentary style film about, the on-chain space, people making an impact. So on-chain humans and impact was born, and now we have the script, storyline, like everything put together for this. We have people flying from all over to come be a part of the filming. We have a woman, well, I shouldn't say a woman, a legendary woman coming in from Los Angeles. Her father was the president of Paramount Pictures. She's worked on Titanic, Avatar, all these big movies in Hollywood. She's coming out to be a part of this. We have Jimmy Cohen coming out from Austria. He holds the Guinness World Record for the most trees planted by a single human being in a 24-hour period. And he's coming out to talk about how he's used blockchain, AI, and creating a DAO to do his tree planting goals. We have other people too. We got the people from the Film 3 Festival. They've worked on films like Coraline, if anyone knows Coraline,
I
Fantastic
watched that
Mr.
too.
Fox. You know Coraline?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so
buttons, right?
yeah, people, some of the folks behind the Film 3 Festival and Flannel Donut, had a hand in some of these productions. So, we're assembling like the dream team of creators for this, and it feels really good, to lean on community and lean on others who are kind of like have this expertise, because this is my first time doing this. It's like it really humbles you to jump into a new skill when it's like I have no idea how this works. You got to figure everything out. And it's like, it's a lot more work than you would think. Like, I have so much more respect now for filmmakers, for documentary filmmakers. Because even making a short one is like, months of work. So, anyway, sorry for the rant there, but I'm extremely excited about this, and you guys will probably see this all over my timeline because we're filming this weekend. So very excited.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. And I think when you mentioned film, it just occurred to me that storytelling and crafting the right narrative is so important in just delivering any message across, right? And I do see like that being a key factor in just being able to reach the masses, being able to tell the
100%.
story of one thing. So yeah, I'm really excited for you for this new endeavor.
Thank you. And I try to say yes to new opportunities like this. It's cuz like everything leads to another thing, right? Like there's always a butterfly effect. Like for instance,
Hmm.
I got together with a group of people and we published a book and that became a best-selling book. And I didn't have to do that, but I was like, I want to jump into this opportunity. I want to try something new and challenge myself to kind of have a new skill. So did the book, now going into film and just gonna keep it going and see where the rabbit hole goes. And I do feel like with film, with video, that is such a powerful way to reach people. We get to see each other's faces and have like a real-time conversation versus like if I'm right, I feel like people read less these days. So a lot of folks consume content through video, through media, through film even. So yeah, I'm very bullish on this medium of creation. So um anyway, I know we're over time here. I could talk to you all day, Nick. So I'll go down to like some of my just final questions here. I'm trying to think of like what the best closing questions I could ask you are. I guess okay, here's one I have for you. By the end of the year, like I'm curious, what would success look like in your role? Maybe not even by the end of the year, but the long game. What would it look
Hmm.
like for you to be successful in your role? I mean, I feel like maybe just looking at what you're currently doing, but like long term, what is your end goal with this?
Yeah. Well, I guess we all know like basis end goal, right? But maybe I want to approach this question from a more personal perspective because um, when I had an interview with Base, we had a like kind of like a bar raiser interview where they kind of find out about what really drives you. And through that interview, I realized that okay, I'm someone that's not driven by like KPIs or milestones, but I'm driven by passion, right? If I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like find all ways to do it.
That's the
And
base way.
yeah, yeah, and so like for me, it's not so much about onboarding builders onto base, although that's going to be a byproduct, just because of my position and where I am and what I'm doing. But what I really want to achieve for Singapore is I want to be able to change people's mindsets about like about building and about um, having your own business, about entrepreneurship, right? And if I'm able to do that, and at the same time bring Singapore on chain, change behaviors in Singapore, and maybe by extension a bit of ASEAN spillover effect, then I would know like, hey, I've really made an impact here, right? It's not about like the payout. It's not about all these like superficial things. It's like it's what really drives you as like a person, and that's kind of my goal. And it may not happen in like 2 years or 3 years, but that's at least something that I would love to work to.
Well, to me, it's very evident that you're doing this, that you're on the right track. You're working, like your heart is fully in it, and it's just obvious from your content, from the conversations we've had. So I'm really proud of you for stepping into this role and doing it with such passion. And yeah, I mean, I'm anything I can do to support you guys ever. I know I'm over here in California, but I'm happy to hop on a plane and come host events in Singapore because Singapore seems really awesome. Um, and yeah, I'm curious, like, okay, if someone is watching this from Singapore and they want to get involved, what would be the best place to start locally?
So definitely reach out. So we've assembled like 11 to 12 like Singapore ambassadors. And so if you're looking to build on base, you're maybe on another chain, you just want to have a chat or find out more, what it's like building on base, what kind of resources or help you can get. Do reach out to any one of them or just reach out to me. There's kind of like a form to fill, and then over there we kind of like try to deep dive into what it is. One of the questions that I ask point blank is like, what kind of help do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's going to be
uh
unique to every person and every project.
Yeah, and so we'll try our best to help you, to redirect you. You know, some people looking for partnerships, some are looking for funding, some are looking for distribution. So like every builder is uniquely different, and so reach out. You know, we have a whole list of like websites where with all these resources like build on base, launch on base, and all these repositories of like documents that you can look at. But you know, just reach out to one of us. We'll help you like navigate the sea of information that's available, and yeah, and we'll get you started. Just reach out.
Awesome. And so where can people reach out? I'm gonna actually I'll pull up your X right now. If folks can DM you on X, I'll show them where they can get a hold of you.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So if you guys are not following Nick at this point, he's at Nibel_eth. He's got the beautiful base god, I might
Yeah,
add here.
UIDG.
TYBG, you guys. And I know a lot of our Thank You Base God community has actually been rating this stream in the Thank You Base God community chat. So thank you. We love the Thank You Base God community. And I was actually looking, so real quick, I just want to show you guys. I put together this graphic for our stream, and I have to say, our base gods have a lot of parallels. All right. We
Yeah, we
got
look good.
I know we got green skin, we got our purple goggles on. I feel like just a lot of parallels, you know. I mean,
And like a
I got
yellow
the
hat.
cigar, you got the little party popper thing.
Yeah,
Um,
we're practically twins, you know.
I know. I was putting this together, and my partner saw yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, those base gods are really similar. Like, what is this for?" So, yeah, we're kind of twinning here. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so just honestly, I guess I'm gonna put a bow on this really quick, and just ask. Okay, maybe I'll ask a fun question before we wrap up. So, okay, being in Singapore, I'm curious, what is your favorite local food spot or type of food that you eat in Singapore?
This is such a tough question because there's just so much good
Yeah.
food. There's
All
just
right,
so
you can
much
do
good.
top three.
Uh,
If you can't pick one, top three.
okay. I do like this dessert called chendol.
I'm
So
looking
it's
this up
kind
right now.
of
How do you spell that?
it's like
Chendo.
Chendol. There's like coconut. There's like some red beans, some
Oh
pandan.
my God, it looks so
Um,
good.
it's really good. So that's one. You know,
I'm
for
gonna
people.
screen share really quick just so we can all get hungry here together for some Singaporean food. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. And
That's
so
really interesting. Like the green noodles. Like what
the
are
green stuff,
those? What
the
is?
green stuff is actually like it's like paste that they make from like pandan. So pandan is like a leaf that's like widely used in like Southeast Asia, and it's really fragrant. If you guys have been to Singapore, you know like there's this thing called kaya, like it's a spread, and it's also made from like pandan.
This looks really cool. So, is it like sugary? Is it sweet?
It's sweet. It's like a
It's sweet.
dessert.
Okay, it's like a dessert. Dessert. All right. And what are some other foods?
I think it will be like nasi lemak. So it is also it's so nasi lemak literally is it's in Malay, and it stands for nasi is rice and lemak is like milky, because it's rice made from like coconut milk.
Okay,
So
I
it's
obviously didn't spell this
rice
right.
pie.
um, how do
Okay,
you
that's
spell it?
one. Nasi lemak. So that's really good too. And if you like spicy food, there's laksa.
Maybe I'll let you share. Because
Yeah.
my that didn't look like a dessert.
So this is how it looks like. Let me share my screen. So I'm just like getting hungry talking about it.
I know. This is like the true secret purpose of the stream, you guys, so you can just get hungry
And so
together.
it's nasi lemak, and it looks like kind of simple, but the rice is actually like made of like made with coconut milk, and so it's really fragrant. There's like
Mm.
like
All right,
chicken.
I think you're making my mind up about Singapore now with coming out for Token.
Yeah, so that's nasi lemak, and the next one's like it's called laksa.
I love
So
how the
it's
question was, "What's your favorite food?" And he's like, "All right, hold my beer. We got like a lot to go
yeah,
through here."
there's so much good food there. Like honestly, that might be the best part of Singapore. The food's amazing. Yeah, I just have to control myself
we
every
got
meal.
one. We got one more, right? We got one
We
final
got one,
contender
yeah,
here.
we got one more. So it's this one. Let me share. So
I'm
it's
also
this one over
curious.
here,
Oh wow,
like
that looks
spicy
like
noodles.
almost like Thai.
It does a look. It is a little bit like that. Again, it's like made with coconut milk. So I think I'm beginning to see like I'm realizing it just now, but like I'm beginning to see a trend here. like,
Yeah,
it,
it sounds like coconut milk. I mean, listen, I absolutely love coconut milk. Any coconut dishes are so delicious. But I am curious, like, what percentage of the Singaporean diet is noodles?
oh, uh,
Do you think it makes up a really good portion of like the diet there?
yeah, it does. I think most of us still eat rice mainly, but we do eat quite a lot of noodles as well. Like all races, you have like fried noodles, Malay style, um,
Mm.
and there's also Chinese style tossed noodles. So I would say maybe if I were to take a stab at it, like 60% rice, 30% noodles.
So more rice. Wow, more rice than noodles.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, I am officially hungry now, and yeah, whenever I do come out to Singapore, would love to get some laksa with you, and then chendol for dessert.
Yep. Yeah. The ultimate sinful combo.
Yeah, I've got to treat yourself when you're traveling abroad and you have the opportunity to experience like new cuisines. Like honestly, you got to dive in. You got to dive into it. All right, so I guess final question for you is, do you have any words of wisdom or closing thoughts that you would like to share with the Onchain community, or any like words of wisdom for builders in the space?
Um, I guess well, building's really tough. Um, so just expect to fail, but I think that the most important thing is just being able to iterate quickly, learn from every failure, and keep moving, keep swimming. Sharks are like startups are like sharks, right? So I think the moment you stop moving, the moment you stop swimming, oxygen doesn't pass your gills, and you slowly starve of oxygen like deprivation, right? So just keep iterating, just keep moving fast, and eventually you'll get there because we are all still so early. And think back in the early days, like the App Store, right? Uh, a huge chunk of like the developers that built on the App Store, they did make it big in days. So we're still really early in the on-chain cycle. Most of the world hasn't come on-chain, and so if you're able to kind of like dominate a niche, um, I think you're in a pretty good spot. So hang in there. Like building is tough, but hopefully everyone will get rewarded soon.
I 100% agree. And, there's a saying like Silicon Valley culture, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I do think that's the case for businesses, for startups. If you're not growing, constantly challenging yourself and continuing to show up like relentlessly, like, I think those are the traits that make up, successful builders and entrepreneurs. So totally agree. Don't give up. Keep showing up. And, like Nick said, find your niche, because I think that's where you'll find the most success. If you identify a problem and then start to enact and like provide a solution, or like, something that there's a demand for, I think you're more primed for success. Um, and I am curious, Nick, like, since we're at the end of the stream here, I'm curious what your thoughts have been around, just on-chain media, about what we're building at on-chain media. If you have any thoughts or anything you've observed throughout your time, just knowing what we're doing.
No, I just love like what you guys are doing, and Rachel, I know you've been like amplifying and supporting base for so long, and I'm just so happy that to hear like you're getting traction with on-chain media, and getting clients, and yeah, I mean if I do meet people, I would love to be able to like refer them to you,
Oh, that
and
means a
like
lot. Thank you. I
shout out
mean,
on-chain.
I'm like always focusing on amplifying base builders, base projects. So anyone you ever see that's like, hey, are there any shows we can get on or any live streams, Twitter spaces? Feel free to send them my way. You know, me and Bill do our best to just be as loud as possible and then share about what people are working on. So it's really a passion. I mean, every day I'm doing this, and I have to say it is an absolute blessing to be able to leave your full-time job and do what you love full-time. I have been able through base, you know, through this community, I've been able to now become full-time content creating and running my business, and that is so huge. Like I know that's like an absolute blessing. It took a lot of work to get here, but today, for instance, there's 3 different shows I'm doing. I have 2 live streams. I got a podcast I'm recording. It's just like back to back every day. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I honestly feel so blessed and honored. And I know, you know, the base team and community has a lot to do with, you know, where I'm at in my life. So thank you guys for the work that you do.
Yeah, and I love to see like the amount of passion you have for just helping people, and also at the same time like amplifying and building your business. So yeah, best of luck to the
Means
both
a
of us.
lot. Thank you so much. And you know, we're just getting started, so we'll, you know, I'm positive I'll see you at some events in the future, and we'll cook up more content together. But thank you for coming on today, for coming onto the live stream. You know, we're trying to do more live streams these days, and just be
Mhm.
like present with the community live as much as possible. So, for those of you that are tuning in, let's see, we got about 226 people. So thank you to the
Nice.
226 people who tuned in today. And yeah, if you're watching this, please connect with Nick at Nibel underscore. I think it's at Nibel underscore base, correct? Yep.
Yeah,
Or ETH, ETH,
sorry.
sorry. So yeah, connect with Nibel at Nibel underscore ETH. And if you're building, if you're in Singapore and you want to, you know, do more in your local community, reach out to Nibel. He's the best person to talk to on the base team out there. So thank you so much, Nick, for your time. And yeah, I'll definitely see you around.
See you around, Rachel, and thanks for the chat.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Just wait.